this point, I feel personally attacked by Epcot fine dining.
Tonight, I'm taking you with me to one of the most expensive restaurants at Disney World. We'll be feasting on a nearly $400 omakase dinner in Epcot's Japan Pavilion at a restaurant I have never dined at before. Let's go have dinner at Takumi Tei. Well, I am dining at every restaurant in Epcot's World Showcase, and the final stop on our journey brings us back to Japan for Takumi Tei. I have eaten at every single Disney restaurant except this one, probably because I never wanted to spend the crazy amount of money. But in the beginning of this year, I challenged myself to eat at every World Showcase restaurant, and by the end of the night, I will officially accomplish that goal. And I am so excited to check this restaurant off the bucket list, so let's go ahead and check in. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. Perfect.
Please allow me to explain our concept.
Okay.
At the Takumi Tei restaurant, we are honored to have you as a guest where we can share Japanese hospitality or motenashi with you.
Awesome.
Takumi translates to artisan in English. Japanese artisans separate their craft using the natural materials. Here, we have focused on 5 concepts that share Japanese life, such as wood, paper, stone, water, and earth. Today you have been selected to dine in our Earth room.
Earth, awesome.
Would you follow me?
Thank you.
Now that was definitely an awesome greeting into the restaurant. It's really cool just kind of stepping foot into a place at Disney World that I have never been before, and it's really, really cool back here. As soon as they open the doors, you kind of feel like you're going into some type of hidden area. I don't know, because it's like kind of underground, there's no windows, but it's really, really awesome. And it just got me thinking this would be like a fantastic place for some type of like hidden bar or a lounge, but instead they turned it into an omakase restaurant, and I'm excited to feast on all this food.
While we are seated in the Earth Room, there are 5 rooms, each inspired by a natural element in this restaurant. We have the Water Room, the Wood Room, of course the Earth Room, the Stone Room, and the Washi Paper. The Earth Room here is very beautiful and very private as well. The tables are spaced out nicely. It's also very, very quiet. It almost kind of feels like I'm in a spa of sorts. But it's very cozy and I feel zen in here.
Thank you very much. And before starting dining, please clean your hands with this oshibori.
Thank you very much.
The first one is called a Kiku course, and from this course we have 3 options for your main entree. The first one is a Japanese A5 Wagyu tempura. It's deep fried. The second option is a flounder. The last option is a Wagyu steak. It's a seasonal and a special option, and actually this Wagyu steak is the most popular one. The portion will be twice than this tempura or flounder. And this our Japanese A5 Wagyu beef is from Miyazaki Prefecture. It's one of the best Japanese beef.
Awesome.
And for your dessert, we also have the 3 options. First one is called homemade hojicha tea cake. Hojicha is a Japanese roasted green tea flavor. It's really authentic. The second option is a sweet potato pudding. It's really creamy and sweet taste. The last option is the seasonal fruits come with a lemon jelly. If you are a less sweeter person, I'm going to have the third option.
That one.
My favorite would be the first one.
Oh, really?
Hojicha tea. It's
Okay.
really authentic.
So it looks like in terms of the menu, we are going to have to make a couple of decisions. So they have an option for a regular omakase menu and then a plant-based one. They are both the same price. I think I remember the plant-based one used to be a little bit cheaper, but they have since upped the price to $2.50 for some vegetables, which is quite actually crazy. But we are going to do the regular omakase dinner here, and I don't know, kind of what I should select. So it looks like we are going to have to make a couple of decisions here when it comes to the menu. The first handful of courses here, we're just going to get brought out all of that stuff. Then when it comes to the main, that's where our first decision comes into play. We could get an A5 Japanese Wagyu tempura style 2-ounce portion, a baked flounder fillet, or we can upgrade for $35 extra to an A5 Japanese Wagyu steak 4-ounce portion. And I'm kind of tempted. I don't know, guys. We're going to get this one here. And then at the end, we also have to kind of choose a dessert. There's 3 to choose from. Well, I just put in my order and I bit the bullet, guys. I did the $35 upgrade. I've only had Wagyu beef a handful of times, and I figured since this is the final meal of the series, I gotta go all out and just give it a shot. So I upgraded for $35 extra on top of the already $250 meal that I'm eating. What am I thinking?
Thank you for your patience. Here's your first course meal for you. And before we start our first course meal, our course meal has a concept. The concept is celebration for the holiday season with the seasonal winter items of Japan. And may I open the turret at the
Yes,
same
of
time?
course.
Thank you very much. 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
Thank you very much. For your first course meal, this is called Ichiju Sansai, brown soup and two dishes. On your right side, this is deep fried tofu in a white miso. White miso has really marrow and rich texture, kind of sweetness flavor. On your left side, this is a freshwater eel sushi and the thick omelette on top. And this freshwater eel sushi has a good meaning for the fortune. And on the middle, this is a nagaimo potato salad on the bottom. And this potato salad is really soft texture. Please use this small spoon for your salad. And the top will be the shiro scalp and the shirojin.
All right, so this all looks delicious here. We've got our miso soup, and then we've got two kind of other dishes. She said to start with the miso soup, so that's where we're gonna go first. Let's just try some of this broth here first. Oh my gosh. I don't even know if that tastes like miso soup. It's so rich and so buttery, and also a little hint of sweetness in there. It's definitely a unique miso soup. I've never had miso soup like this. Now let's try some with the tofu here. Adds a little bit of texture, but overall, I'm not really sure if I like this miso soup. I think I prefer like a traditional miso soup. They have a really good one over at Morimoto Asia in Disney Springs that I definitely like a bit better than this one here. It almost tastes like a custard, just a more liquidy custard. I don't know. It's a little bit thick, and like I said, kind of a little bit too sweet for my preference. But let's dig into this sushi here. I don't quite remember what she said was in this, but we're gonna find out. And honestly, after eating that, I still have absolutely no idea what was in that sushi there. Maybe it was eel? I'm not quite sure. It was kind of wrapped in egg there. I definitely tasted that eel sauce. It honestly just tasted like a basic piece of sushi, like, to be totally honest. But what I am most excited to try is this scallop and sea urchin with a yam jelly, a soy sauce vinegar, wasabi, and shiso flowers. I can't wait to dig into this. She said there's some type of potato salad underneath and to use a spoon, so we're gonna do just that. I've got myself a little piece here with some scallop on it first, and we'll try this out. It's almost like a potato gel under there. I'm definitely getting a little bit of the vinegar, but the flavor that I'm tasting the most when I bit into that scallop there, piece with the scallop, was that shiso flower on top. It definitely had a lot of like floral hints. I absolutely love sea urchin, and I don't get to enjoy it much just because it is so expensive. But actually the other day I went to an Asian market and I got a container of uni sea urchin, $15 for this big container. I ate it. It was not my favorite, but I'm thinking this one here is going to be a lot better. For sure, that uni kind of just melts into that sweet potato there. On my bite, I got a lot of wasabi in there, and at first I thought the wasabi was going to kind of overpower the uni, and it is a little bit strong because I want to fully taste the flavor of the uni because it is just so good, but it actually kind of works well with the uni. It just adds that kind of wasabi flavor. It's really nice. I do wish I got a little bit less on that bite. And the bites with the uni are definitely far better than the bites with the scallop. I thought the scallop was just a little plain on there, but the uni bites. But man, the more I eat this miso soup, the more I don't like it. And I think I've kind of pinpointed. It tastes like funnel cake almost. Why do I keep having things in the Japan Pavilion that taste funnel cakey? Maybe it's because like the fried tofu and the batter that they're frying it in. But it tastes like a super sweet funnel cake. Okay, interesting start to our meal. The next thing that should be brought out is an assortment of sashimi. So I'm not sure what they're gonna bring, but we're gonna try it out.
Here is a second course meal for you. The second course meal is a seasonal fresh sashimi items. And from your left side, this is the striped jack, and on the middle, the red one is a bluefin fatty tuna. The last one is a winter yellowtail. It's a seasonal items, and this winter yellowtail has a really rich and melty texture than the normal season. It also comes with a red and white radish, And this green one is called hasuimo. Hasuimo is one of the potato. It has really unique texture, like soft and crunchy. Also from your fond, this is a soy sauce jelly. Soy sauce jelly made for nuts, made for keep your dressing beautiful. So please enjoy the combination.
Right off the bat, the presentation here is absolutely beautiful. It's in this kind of like, almost like a tea kettle. And there's ice filling the bottom, and there's like a wire rack kind of holding the sushi up, and it just looks incredible. And these soy sauce jellies, are you kidding me? I've never seen anything like that. I'm kind of worried about how the texture is going to be, that gel with the fish, but we'll find out. Well, I've definitely got to start off by getting into this bluefin tuna here. I love bluefin tuna, and if it's good, it shouldn't need any soy sauce. So I don't want to drown out the flavor of that bluefin with any soy sauce to start. I don't know if I'm crazy or it just didn't have that usual kind of fatty, buttery flavor that bluefin has. The flavor that I tasted was from this shiso leaf that is kind of over that wire mesh rack holding up the sushi. That's really what I tasted, the shiso there. Which is kind of upsetting because I definitely want to taste all of the amazing bluefin flavors here. Maybe this piece will be a little bit better. Yeah, I'm really just unfortunately tasting that shiso leaf that's underneath. I believe it's a shiso leaf, at least that's kind of what it tastes like here. Yellowtail next. It's just very dull, similar to the bluefin. Like that, the leaf underneath has really taken all of the flavor away from the fish almost. This jack, I think she said it was. That had a really unpleasant, almost crunchy texture to it that I didn't really care for. But I want to get into these soy sauce jellies here. I'm not sure the best way to do this. Maybe I'll kind of break a little piece off and put it on there. That is certainly so interesting. It's definitely giving that flavor that I feel like that yellowtail needed, because it just tasted so bland, honestly, without it, which I don't think should necessarily be the case, because I've had better yellowtail than that before. Have I had it upstairs? I had a better yellowtail roll kind of over at Morimoto Asia in Disney Springs on their lunch menu. But that soy jelly, I really enjoy that. That's so interesting and it's so unique. She said they kind of do it because it's easier to eat and it makes less of a mess, so you don't kind of get it on yourself. Now, if you did want traditional soy sauce, they did give us a little in this container here, but I feel like when presented with a soy sauce jelly, you gotta go that route. Well, I finished up with my sashimi here, and I have to say, I've definitely had better before. I would even say maybe better upstairs at Shikisai. But we're going to be on to the next course now, which according to the menu will bring us 7 elegant individual selections tailored by Takumi Tei.
This is a Fuji salmon, come with a yellow vinegar sauce. In clockwise, the left one is the eggplant marinated with a soy sauce and kohaku amber jelly on top. The next one is the special house omelette. It has a slightly Japanese sake in it. It makes a sweetness flavor, kind of a Japanese cake. The next one is a Spanish mackerel marinated with rice vinegar. The next one is a daikon radish, come with a yuzu miso on top. Yuzu is a Japanese citrus, it's a fruity flavor. The next one is a takenoko bamboo shoot, come with a sansho black pepper on top. This takenoko bamboo is a circular item in Japan. And the middle, this is called a namasu. Namasu is come with a daikon radish, cabbage marinated with rice vinegar, and salmon roll on top. It's also a refreshing flavor.
Alright, so we've definitely got a lot going on here. And let me just say, this plating is amazing. I'm loving the way all of this food has been presented so far. And she said to dig into the salmon first, so that's just what we're going to do. This salmon here is topped with a vinegar sauce, I'm being told. Let's try it out. Similar to that jackfish that I had earlier, the texture, it just wasn't there. It was like crunchy, almost like, I'm trying to, like, almost when you have like bad chicken, it's like, it's just the texture is not typically what I'm used to, at least. All right, going in the order that she suggested, next up we have this eggplant here, and I guess they really love jellies at this restaurant because this here is also topped with some type of like jelly. There we go with that super sweet flavor again. I had eggplant at Shikisai upstairs just a few weeks ago, and it had like this sweet funnel cakey flavor. And I got that with this eggplant here as well, which I'm not a big fan of. So unfortunately, I don't really care for the first two dishes. This is some type of omelet situation here. I don't know, let's try it out. That one there was good. It almost tasted like some type of like pound cake, and then it looked like the egg was in a thin layer on the bottom. It was like a semi-sweet pound cake, which I guess I wasn't really expecting, but I did like it. Next up, we've got this Spanish mackerel in a rice vinegar here. Now that's actually really tasty. That's probably my favorite bite of fish that I have had so far after the uni and stuff. The flavor of the rice vinegar goes really, really well with that mackerel, and the mackerel itself is a little bit almost meaty. Now this daikon radish with a yuzu miso. I'm having trouble picking this up. Okay, there we go. The radish itself is super soft. It almost tastes like there's also some rice vinegar in there, and definitely a little bit sweet. I enjoyed that. Here is a bamboo shoot, and it also looks kind of like, oh, I thought it looks like a jelly, but it's not. Huh. It almost looked like cranberry sauce. Do you guys, am I crazy? I don't know. That's definitely really interesting. It almost kind of reminds me of like a beet, like a pickled beet a little bit. Finally, some daikon radish with salmon roe. It's like a sweet slaw with a pop of seafood. So in this round here, we're kind of like 50-50. A couple things I didn't really care for, and then some things that I did enjoy. But overall, my mind hasn't been like blown yet. I did go to another omakase experience like a couple of months ago, and it was only $100. And by the first course, I was like, yeah, this is fantastic. And the moment just hasn't happened yet.
Here's the first course meal for you. This first course meal is called onmono. I think it will be warm up your heart. Main will be the red eye snapper. It's deep fried. Also comes with a lotus fruit, Brussels sprout, maitake mushroom, and the top will be the Japanese myoga, red ginger, seaweed, and scorpions on top. The sauce will be the sweet tempura sauce. It also comes with a braised daikon radish. It has really unique texture, and it will be like an at-home flavor, I think.
Once again with this course, this dish has a bit of a jelly situation going on. I did cut into my snapper here, and I expected it to kind of flake right apart, but that was not the case. It was a little bit tough. Hopefully it doesn't taste that way. Since you've got this fried snapper kind of sitting in soup and jelly, it kind of gets a bit mushy, that batter on the outside, but in general it just tastes like, you know, tempura and fish. The broth here, I get some onion in there, and I know it says it's a savory broth, but it's also a little bit sweet. I can't believe I'm saying this, but like in terms of soup, I preferred the udon duck soup that I had at Shikisai. And so far now, I know I had a similar situation in Monsieur Paul when I dined there last week, where I just wasn't impressed. And so far, we're on course 4, and I'm just like, what the heck's going on here? Like, am I paying this much for this food when I feel like I had a better meal upstairs at Shikisai for way less money? And I know, once again, I'm going to get a ton of comments that are like, if you don't like something, say something. And if someone asks me, I'll tell them. And she did ask me how I liked the last course, and I said, some stuff wasn't that great. So I will say it, but I'm not here asking for a free meal. That's not my agenda here, and I don't want a free meal. I want to pay for my food that I'm eating and reviewing. But I am just, once again, at least the plating here is nice. but it's just not the experience food-wise that it should be, in my opinion. Like, everything's so mediocre. Also, while we're at it, let's mention the fake candle on the table, except this time it's not even turned on, so maybe I can do them a service here. What do we got? How do we turn this on? I don't know, I think you might need to put something in the center there to turn it on, so... Gosh.
Here's a main entree Wagyu steak for you. And this Wagyu steak is a Japanese A5 Wagyu steak. It's from the Miyazaki Prefecture, one of the best Japanese beef. Also comes with a healthy vegetable, like a paprika, broccoli, and deep-fried spinach on top. And may I finish my presentation with the
Sure.
sauce?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Keep in mind, this dish here cost me an additional $35 for 4 ounces of beef here, and she says it's of the highest quality that they serve in Japan, so I hope if this course doesn't taste good, then I'm gonna be real annoyed. All right, let's cut into this here, hopefully. Yep, it's cutting just like butter. Hopefully it tastes that way too. I did ask for it medium rare, and this is actually well done. That's upsetting. It's very good and very flavorful. However, this steak isn't cooked well. Like, this is a well done, if you want to consider it medium well, steak. I mean, that steak was good and tender. However, it was a little bit chewy, and that's because it's way overdone. I mean, this steak here, I'm looking at the rest of the pieces. This is not a medium rare cooked steak, and there's no room for error on this one, especially since I'm paying more. That's unacceptable, honestly. I mean, I asked for medium rare. You're giving me well done Wagyu beef. Like, at this point, I just feel personally victimized by these Epcot fine dining restaurants.
Thank you for your patience. Here is a 6-course meal for you. And a miso soup for you. For your 6-course meal, this is a nigiri sushi. On your left side, this is Japanese A5 Wagyu sushi, and comes with eel sauce and wasabi on top. Wasabi will be the good accent. On your right side, this is a minchi bluefin party tuna sushi, and wrapped with a pickled daikon relish. It will be a great match combination. On the side, this is a napa cabbage. It's also slightly marinated with a rice vinegar. So please enjoy this napa cabbage between the wagyu and the tuna.
Gotcha.
And for your miso soup, I recommend to keep the lid. It will be a warm temperature, so I'd like you to enjoy after the sushi. And
Okay.
this miso soup is a red miso. It's more dry and strong taste than the white miso. Please enjoy the differences.
Thank you. All right, on to our final course before dessert, our 6th course. We've got a little bit more Wagyu beef here, and then she said to kind of eat this pickled vegetable, pickled cabbage, I believe it is, in between each bite. So I guess let's start with the beef. Well, it only took 6 courses, but that was the bite of the night. It was so fatty and so greasy, and the rice just soaked up all that flavor, and I definitely got a little eel sauce. The wasabi was nice on there as well. That was absolutely delicious. I wish I had a couple more of those because that was amazing. You can kind of see all of the grease and flavor left behind on the plate here where the beef sat at one point, but that just gives you an idea of how much flavor was truly packed into that beef. It was so juicy and delicious. Before we get into our bluefin, she said to have some of the pickled cabbage here as a palate cleanser. That's good too. Super light pickling. This is so huge. This might be a 2-biter. There is that bluefin flavor that I have been looking for. I don't know what was going on with our first couple of courses of sushi and nigiri and stuff, but they were not there. The quality of the fish was really, really off. I don't know if they just saved the good stuff for last, because this plate as a whole was hands down the best plate of the entire meal so far. I loved the tuna and I loved the beef as well. Also loved the pickled cabbage. Were they saving the best for last? I don't know, but like I said, both those bites, excellent, best bites of the night, specifically the beef. We're finishing up this course with a red miso soup, and since I wasn't given a spoon, I guess I'm just supposed to sip this. I'm telling you, they saved the best for last. I prefer this miso soup a lot more. I know the first one that I had in the first course was supposed to be like a different kind of miso soup, but this is the one that I kind of prefer, and it has more of a rich flavor than your typical miso soup. It almost tastes like there's some type of alcohol in here. It tastes almost like a red wine, or like some type of sake is in here. I'm not really too sure, but it's super rich, super savory, and super delicious. Overall, this course beats out every single other course by a mile. It's not even close.
There's a course meal and a sweet potato pudding. This sweet potato called beni asuma is one of the best Japanese sweet potato. Also comes with a brown sugar sauce in a whipped cream on top. It will be a great match and authentic flavor of Japan.
And I don't know what I was expecting, but I was not expecting this. It looks like some type of maybe like a brown sugary sauce on top. Oh yeah. Some more gel. I'm a little nervous for this one. I do smell some tea. I think there's some tea in there. Wow. That's super interesting. That's unlike anything I've ever tasted before. Definitely tasting that sweet potato, but I am also definitely getting some like type of brown sugary kind of tea. I wonder, is there tea in this? So interesting. I could use almost less of that brown sugary sauce, but this is good. Wow. I can't stop eating it. I almost expected it to be more like ube-like, but that's not the case. The pudding itself is like white in color. I think we saved the best two courses for last. Course 6 and Course 7 dessert have been my favorite so far. And we are not done with dessert just yet, because we were also given a tableside performance of this matcha green tea. That might have been like my favorite part of the entire meal. They took a whole cart out here, did a whole tableside presentation to make the tea. They first warmed the cup up here with some warm water to get it all nice and hot. So we put the matcha powder in. She kind of mashed that all around and then poured the tea in top. Man, that was a great presentation. I love a good presentation, and that was definitely one. Let's try it out.
We had one picture of us, and there's like a whole family in between.
Tastes like your typical matcha earthy tea. I enjoy it. Well, I'm finishing up here, just picking on a couple more things, but I just got the check, and I do want to show you guys. So, grand total after tax is $303. That is not including our tip, so it'll be like $360. Whatever, I'm just gonna pretend that never happened. But what my server also gave me, who has been super, super sweet, by the way, she's been awesome. But this is really, really cool. Look, this little like origami thing, that's awesome. And it also came with a guest comment card where I can fill out how everything was. So I'm definitely going to be, kind of letting them know that I didn't have the best experience. But I appreciate that they have this, because, yeah, I will be filling it out.
Well, guys, we are back in the room after another very, very disappointing meal. I cannot tell you guys how badly I wanted this meal to be good, and I was so hopeful after having a really good meal at Shikisai in the Japan Pavilion just a few weeks ago. And it just really, really stinks that my last two World Showcase restaurant reviews were just so, again, unimpressive. And Monsieur Paul in France, and then back in the Japan Pavilion at Takumi Tei, I really did not like either of those meals. And it's not that I didn't like them just because of the price. I just did not think the flavors were good. And while I really didn't like either my meal in France or Japan here, I do think my meal in France was a little bit worse. And that's mainly because I felt like the food was so uninspired and just so plain and dull and boring. And not only was it flavorless, I also almost cracked a tooth on some shells. The glasses were dirty, you know. There were just a couple more like bad things that I experienced there. And while Takumi Tei is more expensive, what I did appreciate about it is that you can tell like the dishes were thoughtful. The effort was there in the plating and the overall idea of the dishes. It was there. They tried. I just think personally they fell flat for me. And again, this isn't just because the price is outrageous. This is just like generally, if I was paying $50 for that meal, I still would have been saying the same thing, like, yeah, that wasn't that great. I felt like the fish wasn't good quality. My Wagyu beef was way overcooked. And just that kind of stuff should not happen. I really wasn't, like, I didn't eat anything until the 6th course where I was like, okay, yeah, this is good. Like, it took me all the way to the 6th course to finally have something that I was like, actually impressed by. And if we want to talk price, the meal at Takumi Tei was $250 and the meal at Victoria and Albert's is $295. So $45 extra, in my opinion, for a way better all-around experience. And when you add in the Wagyu beef that I bought, it's only $10 more to go to Victoria and Albert's. So I'm kind of like kicking myself. I'm like, dang, I could have just gone to Victoria and Albert's for the price that I paid for that meal. And guys, it's just not even close. It's just not even close. There is absolutely no value in that meal over at Takumi Tei, and I genuinely think I like the quality of the food, not even just price-wise. I think Shikisai, right above it in the Japan Pavilion, is so much better. It is leaps and bounds above Takumi Tei, in my opinion. I don't know if I just again went on an off night, but I could never justify that meal. It wasn't good, even if I was paying less. And I mentioned, I've been to an omakase meal before over near downtown Orlando at a place called Sushi Saint. It was a $100 omakase experience, and it was so much better. Every single thing that was placed in my hand that I ate, I was blown away by. It was so much better. And it was only $100. So in my opinion, if you guys are looking to do an omakase Japanese style meal in Orlando, there are far better ones off of Disney property that are going to cost you way less. I mean, literally $100 for one of the best meals I've had probably all year at Sushi Saint, compared to this that cost me nearly $400 after tax and tip and the Wagyu edition. And over at Sushi Saint, you get a caviar bump. I got uni, tons of toro. I had Wagyu beef. It just is so much better. So, unfortunately, a very, very sad ending to the series. Again, I had such high hopes for this meal, and after Monsieur Paul, I was really hoping that I would not have to make a video like this again, but unfortunately, I was not a fan, and just like Monsieur Paul, I will probably never go back to this restaurant. And to be quite honest, I don't know how that restaurant is still open. It was almost completely empty in there. I had the entire room that I was sitting in to myself for the whole first half of my meal. Then another couple joined me halfway into the meal, and as I walked out through the other rooms, they were all pretty much empty as well. So I'm not quite sure how that restaurant is still in business and who would go there if they're not making a video like me. But I cannot recommend it. I think they need to overhaul the entire space, because that is such a cool space. I feel like that would be such a cool place for some type of hidden lounge in there. Oh my God. I could imagine them coming up with some absolutely phenomenal backstory, serving up some small plates and some great drinks and stuff. That's what that space should be for. They're not utilizing it properly, and it shows because the restaurant was empty. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this series. If you've been here since episode 1 when I dined at Chefs de France, thank you so much. It's been a good time. I've gotten to try so many different restaurants this year, and I'm kind of relieved that it's all over. At the beginning of 2025, I'm planning on doing a whole ranking of every restaurant in the World Showcase. I feel like I've got them all fresh on my mind because I've dined at every single one in 2024. So yeah, thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Thank you to all of my Patreon subscribers for supporting my channel. Thank you guys so much. I've got so many fun, exciting things planned for 2025, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.